To steal a line from ESPN's Scott Van Pelt, Jack, it is midnight, past midnight on the East Coast, and I am not tired yet. I actually might be a little bit tired.
I am also a little bit
You're
tired.
a little bit
I
tired.
might be a lot of bit tired, but we power through it.
And nobody in blue and gold in this stadium tonight is tired right now. I can assure you that, because this is the site, Kyle Field, College Station, Texas, of Notre Dame's 23-13 season opening victory over the Texas A&M Aggies. Jack, they needed it. They got it. In the fourth quarter, the game was hanging in the balance. Jeremiah Love said, I'm going to go win this football game. And that was really only one of the plays in which Notre Dame said, we're going to go win this football game.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love said that. Riley Leonard said that. Bo Collins said that. Jaden Greathouse said that with that third down conversion at the beginning of the final drive. The offensive line said that. And the offensive line, which struggled like we knew they would. Yep. Everyone knew they would struggle in this game. Anthony Knapp struggled. Sam Pendleton struggled. But you know what? Sam Pendleton had a fantastic block on Jadarian Price's touchdown run in the third quarter. Anthony Knapp held his own in that final drive. A lot of players tonight did not play perfect, but Notre Dame does not win without them. The best way to describe this win, just gutty. That was a gutsy win.
And what did we talk about? What did everybody talk about going into this game? It was going to be ugly. I joked on one of our Hey Horka videos, if Notre Dame can win this thing 3-2, they would take that 2-0, like the ugliest score than you can imagine. 23-13, all things considered, ended up being like you take that and run with it.
God,
you are flying back to South Bend happy if you're Notre Dame. Because of the people that you said stepped up and made plays in the end, we have to shout out the Notre Dame defense. I mean, that's where it starts with this team. Don Schuler, first career interception. Xavier Watts, is that his 8th career interception? I don't think he had any before last season. He had 7 last season. So the turnovers were huge. Jack, the Notre Dame offense, for as much as it struggled, like you said, there were some times where Riley Leonard was a sit and duck and the pressure got to him. No sacks allowed, huge statistic. No turnovers, huge statistic. They didn't make the big mistake. Jack, we're going to spend a minute talking about the Notre Dame defense, absolutely warranted. But first we got to go back to that 8-play, 85-yard drive that really sealed the game for Notre Dame. I know Mitch Jeter ends up actually sealing the game with the 46-yarder. His second 46-yard make of the game, by the way. He was good from 46, and I believe somewhere in around 30 yards, 35 yards, something like that. He was perfect in his Notre Dame debut. But that drive, Jack, 13-13 game, everything is hanging in the balance. You talked about the Jaden Greathouse first down. Bo Collins making a play, Riley Leonard just keeping things alive, and then ultimately, right after the 2-minute warning, Jeremiah Love says, hey, I'm going to take this thing into the end zone. That was third down, was it not? I mean, at that point, you might have to kick a field goal if you're Notre Dame, but going up a touchdown, you could feel the Notre Dame fans who were sitting in this end zone here saying, oh my gosh, I think that's it. It ended up being it.
Yeah, it ended up being it. There were just a lot of big plays in that drive. Riley Leonard figured out, like, Bo Collins got one-on-one coverage, you can trust him to get the ball, and that is what he did. This was a Notre Dame offense that really didn't have its best weapon, Mitchell Evans, or its probably most reliable weapon, Mitchell Evans, for most of the game. They really only played him on third downs, but they just found a way. They found a way. We can talk about all the stats we want. Riley Leonard, I think it was 5.3 yards per attempt. That's obviously not good. It doesn't matter. Like we honestly could care less about the stats from this game. All that matters is they got out with the win.
Like I said, if they would have won this thing 2-0, they would have taken it. But this ends up being, for what I was saying all week, would have been Marcus Freeman's biggest road victory, maybe biggest victory since he's been at Notre Dame. Our own Kyle Kelly captured that, encapsulated it with the video. Go check out his social media. I don't think I've ever seen Marcus Freeman that fired up. And the coolest part is, he was locked in. He was engaged. He had a conversation with Mike Denbrock where they told each other before that 8-play, 85-yard drive, hey, this is it. This is what we envisioned. This is how we go win a football game. And they actually did it. I've been waiting for Marcus Freeman-led football team to do that on the road, like the Clemson game. Louisville was tied 13-13 at one point, just like this game was tied 13-13. They went out and won this football game.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman proved a lot of people wrong tonight.
Including me.
Including us. We both picked A&M to win. We thought this was a toss-up. We thought it would be a slugfest.
For a while it was.
It was a slugfest for probably really the whole game. It was nothing was easy for this offense. They had more guts than A&M. It is a monumental road win, and the team knew it. Like you talked about Marcus Freeman being happy. Like I have never seen throughout last year, I did not see Notre Dame like that elated and relieved a little bit. Like watching Howard Cross walk around at the end of the game, he's like staring up at the heavens. He's flailing his arms out everywhere. He looked exhausted. He looked Like, I've never seen a human being happier than Howard Cross looked after that game. Riley Leonard, we caught him hugging Gino Guidugli afterwards. Like, got it done when it mattered most. This was cathartic. They needed a win. This program needed a win like this so badly. And they got it. And the season is in a great spot right now.
Exactly. And the other side of the coin was it would have been pure dejection, just the worst vibes that you can imagine. But just like that, you flip it, you do what you have to do. You're going home to South Bend, happy campers. The Notre Dame defense is a big reason why you're going home to Notre Dame, happy campers. You mentioned Howard Cross. He had one of the better sacks that we're going to see all season probably, where he just wiggled his way through the middle of the defensive line or the offensive line, and you knew, okay, that guy's going to get a sack on this play, and he finished the job. Don Schuler with his first interception of his career. Xavier Watts gets his 8th interception of his career. Just the plays that side of the ball made. It never really felt, maybe there was a minute when it was 13-13 where you felt, oh man, A&M has the momentum. It's the fourth quarter. The home team's going to go and do what Notre Dame did and go on a game-winning drive. This Notre Dame defense wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah, and we talk about the offense being gutty. Like, we got to give some credit to the defense. Like, a couple drives in that game, including the one that tied it at 13, the defensive line in particular got its butt kicked up front. They were getting pushed back 2-3 yards off the ball. A&M was getting whatever they wanted in the run game. They just kept coming back onto the field and shutting them down. The pass defense, as we knew it would be, was phenomenal. Benjamin Morrison, Christian Gray made the game-saving play, game-clinching play on that fourth down at the end of the game. I believe his first career start. Howard Cross was great. Riley Mills made some run-stopping plays. The linebackers I thought were good. Don Schuler and Xavier Watts got those interceptions. I mean, it was just a complete team effort, and I think if I were Notre Dame, I'd be proud of this one.
Did you mention Benjamin Morrison going out of the game?
Yeah,
coming back into the game.
Went out of the game, came back into the game. Yeah,
that's the guts. That's the gutty nature of this football team, that what they displayed here tonight, and it was enough to, like you said. I want to go back to your larger point of propelling Notre Dame into what this season could be. Quite frankly, we don't know what Notre Dame is going to be. We don't know what Texas A&M is going to be. But when you've only played one football game, Jack, you want to win that one football game. You want to be the 1-0 team leaving this game, not the 0-1 team leaving this game. And you could get a sense in the press conference from both Marcus Freeman and Riley Leonard. Sigh of relief. They know there's a lot more coming for this team. There's going to be a lot more adversity as well. But when you're able to attack that, having overcome this, like Marcus Freeman said it, he knew it was going to be a fourth quarter football game. The team that punched more, had more fight in the fourth quarter was going to win. That was his team on the road in front of 107,000 fans who didn't want that to be the case. Impressive. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, and just elation from the Notre Dame fans, dejection from the Texas A&M fans. Like, they silenced this crowd at the end. Yep. It was a lot of surrender cobring, lot of yell leaders looking pretty depressed. It was a bit of a shocking scene. Being on the field to the end of that game, it was a shocking scene.
So let's kind of wrap this up by saying that this is a 60-minute football game. And I remember going at halftime, I put out a tweet, how are you feeling, Notre Dame fans? The vibes weren't great. Yeah. They weren't good. So how do you kind of compartmentalize what that first half was, what maybe that means for Notre Dame's offense moving forward? I know it's not going to look like that against Northern Illinois or Purdue or Miami of Ohio. How do you compartmentalize that, Jack? Because there were large stretches this game where you're thinking, oh no, is this Notre Dame offense, the offensive line, Riley Leonard even at some points? Is this bad? Is this bad on that side of the ball? How do you kind of weigh that?
Riley Leonard missed some throws. There were some miscommunications. Either Leonard or Jeremiah Love messed up what should have been a touchdown after the Schuler pick in the first half.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. For most of the run plays of this game, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price had nothing. Bottled up. Just this A&M defensive line, I think we can agree, was as advertised. Yeah. Nick Scorton, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart are hulking monsters that made some plays in this game. But, like, we talked about it for a while. Mike Denbrock talked about it. Like, this is the worst that the offense will be this season. All they need to do is get past this game. Now they obviously can't take a breath. They can't sit back and say we're going to beat Illinois, because then that's what they did against Marshall, and you know what happened then. But they have a period of a few weeks, I think 3 games before Louisville, that they should win, and they have time to get this offense right. by the next big challenge they have. They have time for this offense to get better, and they have a lot more breathing room and a lot more margin of error because they escaped College Station with a win.
You mentioned Texas A&M's defense, specifically the defensive line. Marcus Freeman said that's probably the best defensive line that we're going to face all season.
Yeah.
This young Notre Dame offensive line, technically by the stat sheet, Jack, 0 sacks allowed. I want to mention that Riley Leonard is a big part of that.
Yep.
Did he talk a little bit? He admitted that in the post-game press conference a little bit too early sometimes. Absolutely. A running quarterback is always going to have that tendency. But at the end of the day, Riley Leonard got himself out of situations. He got the ball out of his hands because he took some pops in this game. It wasn't 0 hits.
Yep.
He took some hits. He got the ball out. He moved when he needed to. But then at the end of the day, Jack, I also think that this Notre Dame offensive line, against the best defensive line that it's going to face all season, held up just enough for Notre Dame to do what it needed to do to get a victory.
Yeah, the best defensive line it's going to face all season. It was the worst it's going to be all season because now all of a sudden, 11 career starts in a week. 16 career starts.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's math for you folks.
How about that math? I was told there would be none of it, but there's just a little counting tonight. No, I mean it was that was another part of the guts. Like Anthony Knapp got undressed a few times by Nick Scorton, by Shamar Stewart. Again, as we knew he would. Nothing about this offensive performance is panic-worthy because we've said for months that we knew it would be something like this. If you were surprised by the offensive performance, you probably weren't paying attention all offseason. Now that they've gotten past A&M, it's just up from here.
Shout out to Tim Hyde. He said for months, first team to 20 wins.
Yep.
First team to 20 won this football game. So I agree with you 100%. Offense will get better, and it was good enough tonight, and that's all you needed tonight. Defense was great, was elite. We thought that was going to be the case. It was. That's going to stay that way. Notre Dame is going to have a great defense all season long. I can rest assured. I think it's going to be that way. We know that that's what that side of the ball is. So when you put those two things together, the offense going to get better, the defense going to stay where it's at, and they completely stymied this team tonight. I think we do need to mention this though. The penalties. If not for penalties, Texas A&M probably never scores a touchdown in this game. So clean that up. Again, you're playing on the road in one of the hardest environments. So defense is great. Clean up the penalties. Clean up the offense, like Riley Leonard said. This is a playoff football team if everything goes that way.
Yeah. Final thought, Al Golden's a genius. I don't think there was a single third down where Connor Wegman wasn't under duress. You saw a lot of that from Mike Elko. He had the offensive line perplexed with some of his blitz packages. But Al Golden, the true genius of Al Golden, that first drive, A&M has largely marched down the field. It's third and I think 3. He feigns pressure from the outside. Jaden Osbury comes up the middle, like straight down the gut. They don't block him. He forces an errant throw, field goal. That's the genius of Al Golden. He gets the effect of 7 rushers with 5 or 4, and that was a big difference tonight.
My final thought is, in our Hey Horka, if you had a drink every time I said the word answer, you probably would have still been hungover for this game. But that's what it was, Jack. They kept answering. Al Golden answered that first drive. Notre Dame kept answering on the scoreboard, eventually got ahead, stayed ahead. The Irish are 1-0 heading into their home opener against Northern Illinois. We will both be there. We will have a video like this after that game, home opener in South Bend, Indiana. After 100,000 people screaming in their ears, this Notre Dame team is going to be happy to be at home. We're going to be happy to bring you that coverage. So go back to this YouTube channel throughout the week. We will have coverage leading into that game and then, like I said, after the game. So that's Jack Sobel. I'm Tyler Horka, and we will see you guys next week.